In 2007, I quit games altogether to focus on my education and left my online life behind me. In 2012, when I heard there'd be a new iteration of Counter-Strike, I decided I was mature enough to strike that balance and start playing games again in my free time. As you can see, it ended up being more than just a hobby. But at the time, with a fresh Steam account and no friends, I hadn't gotten any exposure to competitive play. It was watching CS on Twitch that initiated my curiosity, and then matchmaking that eventually led to me finding a solid 5 to try competing in a league with. Matchmaking was a way that I could improve my individual skill and gain an understanding of what it was like to try and work together with others. Although it took a lot of queues and different teammates to sort through the rubble, eventually I found 2 people I really enjoyed playing with, and the 3 of us continued to queue up until we found a full team to play a season with. In short, without matchmaking or the goal of a league to compete in, I'm doubtful I would be here in front of this camera today. Now, 4 years later, matchmaking and a new pro league have been announced for China. It's easy for us in North America and Europe to focus on the 128 tick servers or the possibility of a new operation, but certainly the best part about this news is that millions of new players now have the same opportunity to grind and be noticed with this game just like I did. While we may be a ways from seeing Chinese teams in the Tier 1, both Tyloo and Vici have shown the ability to take games off our very best teams, and with the new CPL slots, I don't think it'll be long before we begin to see other Chinese teams joining them. Right now, Chinese Counter-Strike is unpolished, disorganized, and impressive all at the same time. They still peak in post plans, move way more than they need to on CT side, and cannot be dissuaded from giving up a man advantage at the worst, most inopportune moments. It's been a story of players who are highly gifted mechanically, that even innovate strategically, and yet cannot grasp the basics of sound fundamental Counter-Strike. This has opened them up to ridicule from other regions, but in my opinion, these players are lucky to have such coachable weaknesses. My track and field trainer used to tell me that you can't teach someone how to run faster, and for me in CS, this applies to aim. Tyloo and Vici have pound for pound some of the fastest steady-handed aimers that we've ever watched in CSGO, and this year, in some of their earlier upset wins, they showed us how impactful that can be. Quickly though, the gimmick of this advantage was overshadowed by teams becoming more accustomed to their overly aggressive and aim-heavy playstyle, which put Chinese CS back into a state of question once again. Based on the details released so far, it seems that Valve and their partners are trying to give Counter-Strike the best possible chance of succeeding as an esport in China. Matchmaking, their new fully funded league, and stringent punishments for cheaters all add up to good things. But is this enough to help a region that's showing up 4 years late into a very tight meta? I mean, I love China. In fact, I would say that nobody loves China more than me. But currently, our 3rd best team by results, Virtus Pro, have 3 players over 30 years old who have played as top-level professionals for over a decade. They are living proof that the skill ceiling in our game is high enough that the next fastest 16-year-old with an internet connection and mouse can't suddenly open up the game and steal a major. The skill gap created by over a decade of experience isn't the only obstacle standing in the way of success for these Chinese teams either. Historically, former legends who have stepped aside, or players who were pros in 1.6, have often failed when attempting to mount any sort of comeback. Fraud and Kogu, for example, are 2 of the best operas Counter-Strike has ever seen, but neither have been able to recreate their competitive success in CSGO, despite making concerted efforts to coming back to playing professionally. Changes to the game and meta make Counter-Strike notoriously hard to keep up with for even the most skilled players. And this means that it'll probably take a while before Chinese CS is truly competitive. But that isn't the only metric for success. Looking to existing Chinese esports orgs, we can see the amazing things that can be offered if they decide to invest in Counter-Strike. Things like branding, investment, and player amenities all contribute to the success of their teams. The Chinese esports ecosystem is much more advanced than it is in the West. While developments and player support have been made by companies like Refresh, these things are considered standard by most Chinese League of Legends and Dota teams. Just take a look at the massive building Edward Gaming constructed for their players. Last month, Robs' parents said they felt like the internet was full of lies and scams and didn't believe it was possible to make a career out of gaming. Imagine if they could have walked down the street and talked to the CEO of Mousesports in a multi-million-dollar compound. Assuming Valve don't decide to suddenly pull the plug in their Counter-Strike experiment, it's really up to the interest of companies, sponsors, and other regions to dictate how healthy our scene will be. It's cool that even without the interest from Asian markets, we've still managed to have seriously impressive viewership records for our major events. And really, that is great. But those records are about to be smashed and forgotten. In truth, it's probably not reasonable to speculate just based on those numbers that Chinese CS will somehow become more dominant. All we do know is that there will be a lot more eyes, players, and competitive teams to watch. And that's what I'm looking forward to personally. During Star Series last fall, I'll never forget how fun it was to watch Envy get challenged on Dust 2. Seeing players who I'd never paid any attention to, like Savage or Zoking for example, step up round after round. It was some of the most exciting Counter-Strike that I've ever casted. It left me wanting to know more about the players, watch more of their matches, and be more updated on their growth. Watching different regions, styles of play in the game has always reinvigorated my love for watching CS over the years, and I know I'm not alone.